Don't steal my money.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and we are sorry about the delay. Welcome to the North Star Network. My name is Owen O'Keefe alongside Andrew Matiasic. It's an intense matchup between the Cicero North Syracuse North Stars and the visiting Baldwinsville Bees. The Bees so far off to a 5-0 start tonight with Carson Dial with 2 goals, Keegan Lynch with 1, and Reese Gilmore and Jake Chiz also adding in 1 apiece. North is on offense now. John Carter has it. Gets over to Mason Blakeman. Blakeman goes around the screen set by Kohler. He's going to rip one here. That one's saved by the goalie, Mason Clark. So here come the Bees the other way.
CNS's defense really needs to step up their game here. 5 goals in the first quarter is just unacceptable against the top team in the section.
Well, I think that all Southers with Florida Southern commit in the center for the Fogos, Jake Chiz for the Bees. He has been unstoppable tonight. CNS has been switching things up, putting Kubalo, Long, and Porter in there, and they just can't get anything to work.
And prior to this game, he had 103 faceoffs taken and won 84 of them. Looks like
Simply saying Jake Chiz is that guy when it comes to faceoffs.
Looks like that was tipped off of Joe Green's stick, and it will be Beeble's ball.
Yeah, another thing that doesn't help with CNS, once they get the ball on offense, they get on the other opposite side. Beeville's defense is just so spectacular, it's hard to do something against that. That ball sailed towards the sideline. Beeville's going to be there to stick with that one.
It looks like Baldwinsville's going to start taking their time a little more with their offense. They were really aggressive in the first quarter. Looks like CNS is stepping up a little bit more, getting in more defense, especially with Joe Green out there.
Gilmore has it. Pushed down by Malecki, and there's going to be a flag thrown there. This might be a Malecki sent down for a 30-minute call.
It looks like that was on number 17, Ryan Hollenbeck.
Now the North Star is going to be a man down here for about 30 seconds, it looks like. Hollenbeck's going to be the one to start with it for the Bees. It over to Lynch. Back to Hollenbeck. On X is Jamison Gipe. To back to Lynch. He's going to fire. That one's wide. That ball's going to stick with the Bees. Hollenbeck there for that one.
Lynch really wanted every single piece of that. He's got a hard shot, not only in lacrosse, but for the Baldwinsville hockey team, one of the stars on their offense.
And Drew, you played hockey against this Beeville team multiple times this year.
Yes, I did. And Braden Penafeather Stevenson scored a hat trick against us. That was not a good time for CNS hockey.
Yeah, and to stick with that, Beeville has so many kids. They have 8 players on this roster that play 3 sports for the Baldwinsville Athletics program, which is almost impressive, I'd say.
A lot of the multi-sport athletes on the lacrosse team are also on the CNS hockey team, like Maluski, Sullivan,
Emmett Porter.
Tanner Long, all top scorers too.
As the Bees are getting aggressive now, firing shots at Peter Carter at will.
Beeville's trying to make some moves towards the midfield, it seems like, to try and create their offense, get them to set up further back.
Gilmore has it now. He's picked up by what looks like Tanner Long.
Long is just extremely aggressive on defense. He is that guy when it comes to defense. He's really aggressive. He really loves to slash that stick. It's a great style of play, exactly what CNS needs in this game against Beeville.
It was actually Jake Malecki picking up a short stick. Usually listed down as a long stick defender, but short stick in his hand there. So now here comes Peter Carter. CNS finally picks up a stop. Let's see if they can get a goal here in these last 2 minutes of the first. Carter sends one up to Joe Green on a successful catch. Now here comes the Bees right back.
I don't expect them to get through this easily. Joe Green is extremely aggressive, and he's one of the fastest players on the field on both sides. He can rush it, and he can play a spectacular defense.
Bees swing it to Lynch. They might hold this here for one last shot.
Looks like they're playing more, again, passive style of an attack here.
Dylan Wertheim coming in here. By his defender. Flag thrown by the official. Bees now attacking Elijah Martin. Martin pushing back. They're going to get to Leo Johnson. Johnson gets it to Keegan Lynch. Lynch passed a little too long there.
Looks like it'll be in the North Stars ball.
He was looking for Carson Dial.
Let's see what the flag is here on the play. So it looks like it was offsides on the North Stars. And it looks like number 28, Jordan Miller, will be serving this flag for offsides. Miller is the senior midfielder with 0 points this season and 1 assist last season.
Jordan Miller, someone last season who really stepped in to take faceoffs after Aiden Long injured his arm. Him and Tanner Long sort of split the times last season, and Jordan Miller now is more stepping into a more D-midi role with Tanner Long and Josh Kubala taking a lot of the faceoffs for CNS.
And another person that's taken that role is freshman Emmett Porter, taking a lot of those faceoffs behind Long and Kubala. Looks like Beeville's really trying to force these passes right through the middle. CNS is getting all over them, getting really aggressive now that they're down by 5 goals. It's a lot different in playing style than we saw CNS when they opened this game.
North Star is going to swap out a short stick to bring in Nick Ludwig as an LSM. Bring in some extra defense. Here comes Jordan Miller after the penalty. He's back now.
Miller
North Star's
flying
back
out
even.
there.
3 seconds now. Let's see what the Bees are going to do. Ordway's going to fire. That one's bounces, and that one's going to go out of bounds. End of the first quarter, Bees lead 5-0 on the home North Stars. Drew, what do you think CNS needs to go to get them out of this 5-0 pit?
Well, CNS started off extremely lazy. There was no motivation. There was nothing in there. They were not dialed in at all for this game. But now that they're stepping up, they haven't let a goal in a while. It's 5-0. What they really need to focus on is getting it through that midfield and on their attack. They need to focus on offense now. Their defense is getting aggressive. They're running players out. They just got that offsides call, but it's done. Miller came out. You got 12 minutes left in the half. They got to get their offense moving now.
Yeah, and Drew, every goal was scored before we started the broadcast. Maybe now, I think that was a good luck for CNS's defense starting up the broadcast.
Maybe we are good luck here, but Beeville is known for their extremely good defense, top defense in the state. Their goalie with the most saves, he has some of the most saves in the section. He only has faced around 50 shots this entire season because of Beeville's spectacular defense.
Yeah, and Baldwinsville actually splits their things between 2 goalies. They have Mason Clark starting off this game, the senior, and then closing out the games is junior cross-country runner, also Nicholas Carey. They both have about 25-ish saves. Clark has 27. And yeah, Bees switched their goalies. We saw it last year with FM Hornets. They had 2 really great goalies last year, so they were able to switch them. 1 plays each half. Sometimes it's play each game, but it looks like Beeville likes giving 1 each half.
It does look like that. I mean, they've got just so much depth. Beeville in every single sport that you can name, they have a lot of depth with their athletes. Again, they have no restrictions at all from coaches on playing multi-sports. 8 3-sport athletes on Baldwinsville. I only play 1, and I know I'm burned out. These people, they're incredible athletes over at Beeville. They've got extremely good talent, and the North Stars look like they're going to try and fend them off for the rest of that quarter and for the rest of this half here, but they got to get that offense moving.
Yeah, 21 total multi-sport athletes, 8 of them being 3-sport athletes, which is impressive from the Bees. As sides flip, and here comes the Bees already. That's number 7, Jake Chiz, the Fogo.
Chiz just amazing on the faceoff. You got 2 great faceoff people taking the faceoff, along with 61% faceoff win percentage. I mean, that's just great, but Chiz is just so good on those faceoffs.
Yeah, and one thing that was huge for CNS in their last game against Baldwinsville that hasn't come through, that already failed this time, is they held Keegan Lynch pointless, no goals or assists for the 21-goal, 21-assist coming into this game player in Keegan Lynch, who's heading off to Fairfield next year to play lacrosse.
Baldwinsville is really liking to set up in this midfield here. They're setting up really high, which is unusual. Usually we see teams setting up really low and trying to send it through the middle, trying to sneak one through for a goal.
They get by Miller. That's Leo Johnson makes a move. Heads towards X. Johnson going around the other way. He's going to fire a shot at Peter Carter, and Peter gets his first save of the night.
Great shot by Johnson, but an even better save by Carter. Johnson has 9 goals and 3 assists on the year so far.
As Carter coming way out here looking for a nice pass. As he's way out there, he's got to get back. He better help that pass complete. It gets to Josh Kubala. Kubala gets it to Mason Cicerelli. Now, North Stars have a look at offense here. Let's see what they can do. They have Macknick picking up Cicerelli.
You've got one of the three most lethal scorers in the section. Ian Leahy, Mason Cicerelli, and Mason Blakeman all out on the attack right at the same time. This is going to prove to hopefully show some magic for the North Stars to get momentum started.
Leahy lost control there. Got it back to Cicerelli. They have Macknick sticking with Cicerelli mainly. Ott sticking with Leahy. They have Elijah Martin on a short stick. Let's see what he can do here. An offensive short stick, really. An attack midfielder in Carson Dial.
Martin looking up to Blakeman is exactly what the North Stars want. Blakeman's got a lot of power on that shot, and Martin's got an extremely high IQ for the game.
Cicerelli looking, but can't get around Macknick. He's going to head back around towards Axe, looking for Blakeman. Going to half spin, go back the other way. And going back around. Here comes a double team. Cicerelli's got to lose control of this one.
Looks like he was hitting the head a little bit there, but there's going to be no flag.
Pass that to Carter. Now to Kohler. Kohler's picked up by Pennefather Stevenson, the Richmond commit, as a junior. Blakeman gets a move past Macknick. Carter's going to fire. That one's on the ground and a goal for the North Stars.
That's exactly what they need to do. Blakeman, Cicerelli, Leahy are all, and Martin, they're always setting up someone in the middle, and it's sometimes, most of the time, each other on that attack. The North Stars are lethal from behind that net. I mean, I think they're more lethal than Baldwinsville setting up high in that zone near the midfield.
And one thing to look out for tonight is Elijah Martin having a huge game. Last time against Beesville, of the 6 goals, Elijah Martin had 2 of them, mainly due to the fact that they're putting a short stick on him where he can really take his work and play as a midfielder instead of an attack.
Looks like Kubala's taking the face-off here. In that last game against West Genesee, he was critical to the North Stars, keeping that, at least that gap shortened with his amazing face-off wins. I mean, he's another great face-off taker for the North Stars.
As Chiz comes away with another one here. He's going to get it back to Otts. A little crossfield over to Macknick. Now they're really pressuring here. CNS trying to get that ride up. Stealing successful by Mason Blakeman. Now they're coming back the other way.
Looks like Baldwinsville trying to get aggressive with this attack.
Here comes Ordway. He's going to fire. That one's off the crossbar, way up in the air.
It's a pop fly.
That ball's going to have some spin out at Nicholas Ludwig there for CNS. You might want to find a different stick here. Gets it to Kubala. Timeout called in the field. Looks like a timeout North Stars.
That's one timeout left for each team. 5-1, Beeville leads, 8:45 left in the half.
Yeah, North Star is really picking things a bit together now. They got to start winning some face-offs, but Jake Chiz just seems to be unstoppable in there.
No matter who they put in, Kubala or Long, he's unstoppable. He's winning all those face-offs, but CNS needs to get those turnovers, take advantage of them. Looks like Beeville's playing a little sloppy defense here with their passes, trying to get it out of the zone. And, I mean, if CNS takes advantage of that, they take advantage of that lazy defense that's happening out here. Their attack can work, and they proved it with that last goal.
Yeah, Baldwinsville comes into this game 8-0, 4-0 in the Metro, and 4-0 on the road. They have wins over CNS, like we obviously talked about, wins against West Jenny, FM, and Liverpool, all by at least 4 goals or more. Their biggest margin being against FM. That game was 16-8. Last game, the Bees, took on Liverpool, winning 15-10. Lynch had 6 points in that game, Ordway with 4, and Hollaback adding in 3 goals, and Jake Chiz winning 18 of 26 of the faceoffs.
And, the North Stars really need this victory. With their loss to West Genesee on Tuesday, they need this victory to be still in contention for the playoffs and have, some sort of competitiveness to them when it comes to the postseason this year.
Yeah, the North Stars' biggest struggles this year, honestly, have been the face-offs, almost like the most critical part of lacrosse. Because if you get scored on, like football or soccer, where if you get scored on, you're automatically guaranteed to get the ball back. In lacrosse, you can keep scoring, keep getting the ball back, which makes teams like CNS who struggle with the face-offs really hard to win games.
Looks like Peter Carter's coming out of his net. He's done that a lot in the past few games, getting out towards that midfield area to try and make some passes. It's risky, but it has a high reward to it.
Malecki fumbled that pass. He's struggling with it. He's shoved out of bounds. That's going to go to Baldwinsville. Jake Malecki, really struggling these last 2 games.
Looks like Leahy is substituted out for Nick Ludwig.
Yeah, they're not really going to put Leahy in on defense. He's not strongly defensive-minded with the stick, but you get him the ball on offense, and he is lethal, having 28 goals on the year, second in the league.
He is a scorer, but he only has 3 career assists, or at least in the past 2 years, he's had 3 assists total. But he had 16 goals last year, and so far, again, like you said, 28 goals on this season.
Wertheim has it now. He's picked up by Kohler. It's a move past Kohler. Kohler sticking back with him. He's going to fire. That one's into the stick of Peter Carter. And Peter Carter is sure to stop that ball first while it's still in the crease, as we saw last time against West Genesee. One of those 11 goals let in was when Peter Carter had saved, but it fell out of his stick and rolled across the line.
Peter Carter is one of the leaders on CNS's defense so far, but it looks like CNS's defense is playing, again, a lot more aggressive. They did not come out the way that they should have. They did not have the start that they wanted, but now they're playing more man-to-man. They're playing more aggressively, and, I mean, it's working against the Bees so far. I mean, they have not scored since we started this broadcast.
Yeah, you're right. This is our 5 minutes into the second quarter. Elijah Martin gets it over to Ian Leahy. Leahy gets by a man. That is Ordway. Leahy really strong with the left hand, not so much his right, but if he gets a left-handed shot, it's almost a guaranteed goal for Ian Leahy and the North Stars.
Leahy working it from the side like he usually does.
Kohler makes a move. Ball hit out of the stick, and that's going to be going the other way with the Bees. Trey Ordway scooping that one up.
That is just not a turnover you want. They were buzzing on the attack, and then it just kind of stopped with that little turnover there. Whoever, it might not be a fault, it might be their mistake, but they got to watch out for those because Beeville will pounce on that opportunity.
Looking for Pennyfeather Stevenson inside. Can't get it to him. Now it's going to be, looks like Keegan Lynch. Going to take things back out, slow it down for the Bees with about 6:20 left in this first half.
I mean, they started off the half with a really aggressive attack, but now it looks like they're going back to their passive ways, trying to preserve this lead, trying to run out the half, and then go back to the locker room, talk things over with the coach, and get another game plan going.
It's 22 with it there. Carson Dial. He's picked up by what looks like Michael Kohler. Makes a move by Kohler. Makes another one. Shoots a shot right through the legs of Peter Carter. That one looked like. That is now a 6-1 lead for the Bees. Carson Dial already has a hat trick in the first half of tonight's game.
Carson Dial on fire for the North Stars. Let's see how many goals he has before this game. He had 14. 14 goals and 5 assists. 6 goals and 5 assists last year. He's on fire this season, performing much better with a lot more numbers than we saw last year from him. Looks like there's changes on the...
They're going to put Porter in now for the face-off like you were just about to say. They have Ludwig, and it looks like Jordan Miller on the outside for CNS. Then Johnson, and can't see the other side. Looks like Pennyfeather Stevenson for Baldwinsville. They complete the pass to Johnson. Pennyfeather Stevenson coming up on the offensive end. They have 2 pulls on offense now. They're going to bring back Pennyfeather Stevenson.
It looks like Cy Lieberman was substituted out there for Michael Kohler.
Anthony Menichelli with it for the Bees. Guarded by Cy Lieberman. Gets by Lieberman. Looks like he can take a shot with the right hand. No, kicks it back towards Zach. They're looking for the middle there. Pass unsuccessful. Rebounded by Keegan Lynch. Now Hollenbeck guarded by Malecki.
Some 17-on-17 action there. Beeville really working it through the midfield like they were doing in the past. They're not changing up their attack at all, and CNS is reading on it. It's tight, but CNS just can't get the ball back from it.
Ordway kicks to Cox. Caden Cox, someone we saw on the football field earlier this season against the North Stars. In the sectional final game, too. They look for a pass inside. That one's recovered by Leo Johnson. He's now picked up by Josh Kubala.
Lieberman on that outside defense, along with Jordan Miller chasing behind the net.
Lieberman picking up Menichelli here. Looking for another pass inside. That one stopped again. Here comes Joe Green all the way. No one in front of him. Nothing but daylight.
This is not what Beeville needs to have if they want to have a chance. This is amazing for the North Stars.
He fires. What a stop by Mason Clark. That ball's fighting for it. John Carr's going to use his body. They're still on the ground. Who's going to recover it? There's still a fight for it. Still on the ground. Cicerelli's going to dive. He's tripped up. No call there as Martin lays a man out, and that's going to stick with the North Stars. What an effort there from CNS. Looks like head coach Chuck Wilbur is going to call a timeout here.
Joe Green, one of the fastest players on the field, and we can see it there, racing from end to end. I mean, then there was no one guarding him. That was great for CNS. He's so fast. He's so aggressive out there, and he can shoot the ball.
Yeah, and let's talk about this CNS coaching staff. You got Chuck Wilbur and Nick Gatto, two guys that have won, if I'm not mistaken, 13 national championships with Onondaga Community College out of Division III, the JUCO division of that.
He really raised their reputation over there at OCC.
Yeah, I remember when I first heard, it was a couple years ago, and we heard that we were getting Wilbur and Gatto as our boys lacrosse coaches. All the boys, like I know, like Elijah Martin and Michael Cole, they were all so pumped that they're coming to be their high school coaches. Nothing translated quite yet, but nothing happens too quickly, especially in high school sports. It takes some time to get that chemistry going, all the other stuff in the younger development. As I know, these guys do a lot with the younger program.
Yeah, Rome was not built in a day, as they say, especially with sports. I mean, you gotta get your new coaching style, and you gotta get those players coming in with each other, and it's really hard, especially when players only last around 4 to 5 years on varsity teams. I mean, at the rarest 5 years. And it's really hard when you're constantly changing out players like that. And it happened at OCC too, but Chuck Wilbur's accustomed to it. I don't have any worries with that, and I think that he's going to really build the CNS team into a great powerhouse. I mean, they're already doing better this year than they were last year. Last year they had a 5-10 record, 333 win percentage. This year they have a 6-2 record, 750 win percentage.
Yeah, Drew, if I'm not mistaken, last year was the first year they made sectionals in quite a while. They took themselves all the way to the sectional semifinals. And before that, I don't know the last time the North Stars went to the sectional playoffs. I want to say it was quite some time. As North Stars on offense here, Tanner Long kicks to Elijah Martin. Then to Cicerelli. He's picked up by Macknick. Gets over to John Carter, the only person with a goal for the North Stars tonight. Now to Elijah Martin.
Martin with those nice spin moves. He's really known for that on the attack. Getting around those defenders really, really well.
Martin seems to be almost struggling right now. He has to get this ball out of his hands. He just can't. Beeville's defense is locked down.
You know, someone that we haven't seen on the attack a lot this season is Tanner Long. I mean, he's really good on faceoffs. He can rush it up the field. He's got speed, but he just has not been seen out on the attack so much this season.
Long way deep on X here. Taking things slow. They got about 3 minutes left. Trying to get another goal in before this half ends. Long kicks to Carter. Cicerelli inside. He fakes and he fires. Mason Cicerelli netting in another goal this season.
Mason Cicerelli can do it all. The assist from...
Look at this. Wasn't from Long. I think it was John Carter.
Looks like John Carter, yeah.
John Carter got the assist there.
His 11th assist this season. I mean, last year he had 1 goal and 0 assists, and this year in only 8 games he's had 8 goals and 10 assists, really stepping it up, really stepping up the performance and the numbers from last season. Really a player that we can see on the North Stars that has heavily improved from last season.
If I'm not mistaken, Drew, it was 5-1 heading into this quarter, correct? Now it's 5-0 heading in, 2-1 this quarter. CNS is doing so far. Not bad.
But they got to get much more done on the attack. That Beeville's just pushing them to take too long. They can get around Beeville defenders, but it's really takes them a long time, too long to get this lead back from 4 goals. But it is only 2:40 left until half. Anything can happen in lacrosse. A big comeback can be in store for the North Stars.
Yeah, like Riley Kennedy says last year, lacrosse is a game of runs. CNS can easily go on a 5-goal run, just like Beeville did, as that ball sailed out of bounds by Caden Cox. It's going to stay with the Bees, though.
Looks like Malecki's on him over there, as Jordan Miller's on the outside.
Johnson blows by Miller. Switched on now to Cy Lieberman. Johnson going around that backside. Gets by Lieberman, spins. Here comes a pull, Josh Kubala. Swing over to Ordway. He's going to spin. He's picked up by what looks like Nick Ludwig, excuse me.
See what happened on that corner with Lieberman and Johnson? That's exactly what the North Stars need. As soon as Johnson got the ball around that corner, 2 CNS defenders, Lieberman and another one, were right on him and stopped him from even getting any offensive movement whatsoever.
Jordan Miller picking up Cox, gets by him. Now here comes Ludwig. Cox is going to kick to Ordway. They've got 1:30 left in this first half. Ordway taking things way out. He's going to go now at Miller. He's going to rip one off the bounce. That's going to be all out of bounds. It's going to stay with Beeville. Hollenbeck there.
With 1:29 left in the half.
Beeville's going to roll now. Hollenbeck has it. And that's Lynch. He's going to spin, picked up by Joe Green. He fires. That one into the net of Peter Carter. That's going to go CNS's way now. They've got to get something here. As Carter's decked out by Lynch, that's going to be a flag. As Keegan Lynch completely laid out the goalie blindsided. As CNS needs to get the possession here so they can call the flag. There's still a fight for it.
I mean, you cannot do that in any sport, especially with the goaltender.
They're going to blow that whistle dead, and here comes Keegan Lynch. He's instead off the field. This is a huge part for CNS. As Lynch, they're going to be man down, especially Keegan Lynch off the field, someone that Beeville's offense is vital through, and CNS is going to have the ball under a minute.
That's great news for CNS. They have 1 minute to get around Beeville. I mean, can they do it? It's been taking them a long, long time to get around Beeville defenders, but they can do it. I think 1 minute is more than enough time for them to do it.
Yeah, especially Lynch is off the entire rest of this first half. It's going to be Elijah Martin. He kicks to Mason Cicerelli. Fakes back to Martin. Martin now kicks to Cicerelli. Looking, gets it back to Martin. Now Cicerelli again. These two playing quite hot potato with each other. They're just working around the Bees defense. Martin at the top.
Nice movement here from the North Stars, just trying to look for that open slot and trying to fire one in or move towards the middle.
Get it to Leahy. Back to Cicerelli, now Martin. They're just trying to find a slot that they can shoot into. Get it to Blakeman now. Now Leahy, he's going to rip one. That's off the post. But Tanner Long's going to be there. This is going to stay with CNS. They've got 18 seconds. Still a man up.
18 seconds to find that hole in the slot and just fire one through.
Long kicks to Carter. 13 seconds now. Now we got 10. Blakeman. Back to Carter. 9, 8, 7. They've got to shoot. Kick it to Blakeman. He's got to fire. 3 seconds. That one is saved by Mason Clark, and that's going to zero out the first half. Through 2 quarters, 30 minutes, CNS trailing 6-2 on the visiting Bees as they sort of struggled, I think almost every game we've seen so far this week, Drew, with the Wildcats here on Tuesday, the Hornets against CNS in NBT Bank Stadium. Now today, CNS team's off to a slow start, and they try to recover a little too late. Baseball has struggled the most, but CNS here only giving up 1 goal that quarter to the Bees and scoring 2 themselves, which is huge.
I mean, you're not going to win every single game if you come off to a slow start. They got to stop coming off to slow starts here because they're competing right now. It's even right now. They just won that quarter, but they let up 5 goals in the first quarter. I mean, they came off to an extremely slow start, and they got to stop doing that because if they want to really be competitive here, to get to the playoffs, to have a purpose to be competitive in playoffs, they really need to stop coming out slow, especially on defense.
Just saw the official speaking with Lynch after he blindsided Peter Carter for no reason. Is now North Star's got to get some work in here. They've already given up a hat trick to Dial, and then Lynch, Gilmore, and Chiz all have a goal apiece for the Bees. Carter and Cicerelli both scoring for CNS, so they really got to start working on the faceoffs is the biggest thing.
Yeah, I think that CNS really needs to start winning faceoffs, and it's really hard against Chiz, but if you get in that rotation of Kubala, Long, and Porter, I think they can get it done by the end of the day.
Yeah, I think Kubala might be your best play because he's got the long stick in his hand, but he's just so strong as he's going Division I football, where he might be able to body his way through Chiz. I don't know how technically the rules are with the faceoff, how much you can really use your body. But I think once Chiz gets possession, Kubala can just give him a little bump.
And he's tall and he's fast off the faceoff. Those are 2 key things, and they're vital to faceoff wins.
Yeah, Kubala, one of the only 3-sport athlete here at CNS on the lacrosse team, playing football in the fall and swimming a little bit in the winter. As now the North Stars need to come out strong at the start of this second half. I want to see more out of Mason Blakeman. I haven't seen much out of him. Also, Ian Leahy scoreless in the first half, which is a shocking thing. Here's some fans chatting our way, and that's going to take us to our little halftime break. We'll be back with the second half of this Bees North Stars matchup. And we are back here live on the North Star Network for the second half of this North Stars Bees matchup. North Stars coming out of halftime, trailing 6-2. And let's see what they got here. They got Nick Ludwig now in the center for the face-off for CNS. That's the fourth different North Star to take a face-off tonight. As Ludwig looks like he's going to beat Chiz. Can't get the ball into control. He's going to slide a Joe Green stick. No, now it's going to be Kubala's, looks like. As North Stars looks like they might have just won their first face-off of the night with Nick Ludwig. That's a huge start to this first half.
That's really huge. And the North Stars really need that possession first. They're coming out strong so far in the second half of this game.
That must have been one heck of a halftime talk from either Gatto or Wilbur to get these boys moving. As Leahy's going to stop on the field and immediately catch it. This is what we saw a lot of in the Jenny game when Leahy took over and scored his 5 goals. Kohler attacking Ordway. Swings it over to Cicerelli, now to Blakeman. As these Beeville pullers are not making life fun for the North Stars attack. Gets over to Kohler, who's guarded by the short stick Ordway.
CNS really picking up that attack.
Kohler's going to fire one. That bounces off the ground. Ball is sailing out of bounds. And it's going to go Beeville's way.
You know, they're getting really aggressive on that attack. You know, we saw in the last quarter, they were trying to move the ball around, trying to find an open position. But now it looks like CNS is just running their attack so they can just charge through any sort of opening that there may be. There's a very little passing now. It's get through the middle, see what we can do, see if we can get a shot off.
As the North Stars are attacking Ordway heavily, he's keeping the ball in his stick, which is impressive. He took a huge hit from Kubala. They swing to Hollenbeck. He's guarded by Malecki.
Malecki, the freshman defender on the varsity team, really high potential, young prodigy for the North Stars defense.
Midfielder Dial already has 3 goals this game. Not a Leo Johnson. He's going to swing to Lynch, who sat out the last minute of that first half.
For attacking Peter Carter, the goaltender for the North Stars.
Lynch guarded tightly by Green. Gets a stop there, and Carter makes a save. North Stars coming out hot. Can they get it going on the offensive end now?
Carter leading the North Stars defense now in goal for the North Stars, doing amazing things. I mean, he came out a little slow, but now he's just on fire. I don't think we've seen this Peter Carter yet this season.
Carter sails one to Joe Green. He makes the grab. Now Green's got to get this ball out of his stick, because that's just not what you want to see. That's what we've seen a couple times now with Joe Green, trying to get it too aggressive with that long stick and losing control. Here comes Leo Johnson, no one in front of him. He's going to swing to Trey Ordway. He's guarded by Kubala.
Looks like Kohler lost his stick back there.
Now here's Dial, guarded by Kohler. Johnson coming off the field. Cox is going to step on, it looks like. And Penn receiver is going to step off the front end and come on Dylan Wertheim. He's guarded by Ian Leahy. Wertheim swings to looks like Johnson.
It looks like the roles have switched a little bit. Looks like the North Stars are getting really aggressive on their defense, and Beeville just can't find a slot. But it looks like the North Stars, when they're on the attack, they can find any slot they can to get through Beeville so far in this second half.
Robert Bateman, Swiss Army knife, not letting anything through as they're going to fire. As spoke a little too soon there. Keegan Lynch finding Ryan Hollenbeck for the first goal of this half. Beeville now leads 7-2.
Well, they just had so much possession, it was kind of bound to happen on their attack there. CNS did not give up, though. I'll stand by that. They did not give up on their defense. I mean, they just found that little hole in there, and they got that perfect shot off on Peter Carter.
They're going to send Kubala now in for the faceoff after Ludwig winning the opening one of this half. Let's see what Kubala can do against Chiz.
Let's see, can we get another faceoff win here?
Yeah, if North Stars can take advantage of the faceoffs, that'll be huge for them, and let's see. They just really have struggled with the outside play as well. They're going to win that, but they're going to find Cicerelli's stick, and that one sailed way out. And it's going to go the Bees' way as there are no North Stars there.
I think Cicerelli confidently has the fastest, hardest shot on this field. It's so good, it's so clean, but it just went over the net on that one.
I can't disagree with you, Drew. I cannot disagree with that statement about Mason Cicerelli. Ordway coming around now, guarded by Ludwig. He's going to look for an opening. That ball is sticked away, but it seems like every time that ball sails out of bounds on the back line, no matter what side of the field it is, Baldwinsville always is there. Baldwinsville never is out of rotation on the offensive or defensive end, which allows for them to just always get that ball back if it goes out of bounds, and they always win the faceoffs. So the Baldwinsville never really lose possession of the ball.
No, Baldwinsville is not really losing possession. A lot of it's coming from the North Stars and turnovers from out of bounds and such like that. Mason Cicerelli's shot just over the net gave Beeville that possession. CNS off the attack. Now they're on defense. It can happen just like that so quickly. So the North Stars really got to be selective with their shots for the rest of them.
Caleb Martin here playing a short stick. We were just seeing him with a long pole in his hand. He's a St. Rose commit for Lacrosse next fall. As North Stars really starting to switch things up this season.
Beeville trying to work it from behind the net. That's a difference we've seen from the first half. They were trying to work it from the top, work it from the midfield more, but now it looks like they're trying to work it from the side or rather behind the net to try and look for those passes in the middle or just carve straight through.
North Stars defense looked a lot better in this second half so far, just about 5 minutes in. Ordway attacking. Looks for a pass inside, deflected. Fight for it to go back to Ordway. Now to Wertheim. He's guarded by Martin. Makes a move right. Looks for inside. Diallo unable to catch that one as they're going to send a man to the ground. They're going to blow a whistle. They're going to call a push on CNS. No flag, but nonetheless, it's going to back to the Bees.
That's just not what you want to do. As soon as CNS is getting some sort of momentum, getting some sort of whatever, they turn it over, and Baldwinsville's getting possession. They don't have enough time, and they can't get enough time to provide any offense.
Leo Johnson now guarded by Martin. Goes around X. Martin's going to stick with him. Johnson's going to spin back around. Someone really killed CNS in the first game. I want to say he had 4 goals in that contest against the North Stars. Here comes Dial. He's got 3 himself tonight. He's guarded tight. That one fires off Peter Carter's body. Joe Green's going to try and get that one. As Martin's hit down on the ground, but CNS able to stick with that one and get a stop against the Bees.
It looks like Jordan Miller was a big part of that defense there. He's really aggressive on that Beeville attack. And, I mean, he got that shot, I guess, some sort of way to where Peter Carter could have saved it and got CNS possession. That was a great performance by Jordan Miller.
Kubala struggling to keep this one in play. It's going to go back towards the Bees.
Again, these out of bounds have got to stop from the North Stars. They need offensive possession. I mean, they have not gotten any real offensive possession since that faceoff win in the beginning of the half.
Some of the most skilled North Stars the past few years, between Nolan Firth and this year Josh Kubala, being their defensive players with the poles. So one thing they're really struggling with is those pole players can get it across the midfield and get it in the attack, but then they get swarmed by those opposite teams, in this case being the Bees, and they just lose control of the ball. It's so hard to keep it control of that ball in your stick.
And there's a flag. It looks like that's on.
Might be an offsides here on CNS. Someone probably stepped over. They're going to fire there. Peter Carter gets the stop, and Kohler's there to scoop it up. Let's see what the flag is. This ball is going to go back to Beeville, and CNS is most likely going to go a man down. Let's see what the official says.
It looks like it's a slash. That's what I thought it was on number 33. Mason Cicerelli, that's not what the North Stars need. Their top scorer, one of their top scorers, hardest shot, greatest shot out there, and now he's out for a minute. He's out till 4:22 left in the half. That does not leave them a lot of time to get this momentum back and get this game back in their favor.
Yeah, the only positive thing I could see out of this is that CNS doesn't get the ball in offense for 1 minute, so then Cicerelli can come right back on the field. Because it doesn't look like they're a man down on defense. They're just going to be on the offensive end because that's where the flag took place.
So maybe they'll play some passive offense out there and then just wait until Cicerelli can get back out.
Beeville's going to want to try and score so they can get that ball back and leave Cicerelli off the field as long as they can. They get it to Johnson. Get inside. He's going to fire. That one's in the top corner. The flag is thrown, and the goal scored by the Bees. That one looked to be number 5.
Jack Oswald.
No, that's for the Bees.
For the Bees, Jamie Gipe.
Jamison Gipe for the goal for the Bees. As North Stars for the next 30, 45 seconds are going to be 2 men down.
Looks like Joe Green with an unnecessary push or unnecessary roughness there after that goal on Jamie Gipe.
Yeah, it's 1 minute on Joe Green. Cicerelli had a minute. Looks like his minute might have been up. I can't tell if he's back out there or not. I don't see him on the sideline. So I'm going to assume Cicerelli's back out there for CNS, but now they're a man down on defense, which is not what you want to see.
Yeah, Cicerelli's back out there on the attack.
We got Joe Malekian playing defense. They're going to fake and rip a shot. That one's way wide, but Beeville's there once again, so it's going to stay with them.
I mean, Jamie Geip with that shot, though, that was just pure. That was the one corner that Peter Carter could not cover, and that was that near corner. I mean, he was able to wind up and still get that shot inside for that goal for the Bees.
As Dial's going to look, no. Swing over Johnson, pass unsuccessful, but Hollenbeck is there. Now to Dial. He's going to step in, kick to Ordway. Ordway's going to fire off the stick of Peter Carter. That one's flying towards the midfield.
Quick reaction time from Carter.
Ball's going to bounce out of bounds and go with CNS. That's another stop for the North Stars. They got to translate that into offense now with 4:22 left. Looks like Josh Kubala has it for CNS. He's getting pressure now. Kubala flies one up, caught by Elijah Martin. Now he's got Penn Feather Stevenson on him, gets by him.
Martin dangerous on one-on-ones. He has a nice sidestep. He can really get around those defenders. He can swivel around him. He can do whatever.
Martin's going to swing to Leahy, the strong left-handed midfielder for CNS. He gets by Wertheim. He's going to fire. That one's way wide, but that one's going to stick with CNS. Cicerelli there. And they get it to Cicerelli. He's going to fake. He's guarded by Macknick. Probably one of the best defensive pulls in the section. Kohler now, guarded by Johnson. Kohler probably much bigger, looks like, than Johnson. Not sure why he didn't just try and go through him. Blakeman now swings to Martin.
Martin can get
Martin
around
spins
this
on Wertheim, spins back to his right hand. Now to Kohler. Kohler's going to get over to Mason Blakeman. He's going to spin now.
From what I've seen in this game, they got to get Martin in the middle. He can get around any of these defenders.
As that ball hit out of Blakeman's hand, and now here comes Bevo the other way. That's Austin McClintock. Pass to Johnson, unsuccessful, but Hollenbeck's right there. Now Penn Feather Stevens is going to fire. That one sails way out, but it's going to stick with the Bees.
Looks like Jacob Chai's on that ball down there.
Some of the North Star baseball players walking back in after their win over RFA today. Logan Karwowski getting 2 home runs in that one. North Stars get a bounce back after they've been losing 2 straight to the Hornets. As Johnson now sticking towards the inside. Pulls back out, guarded by Martin. Swings over to Hollenbeck.
Looks like Beeville taking their time on this attack. They're up by 6. They have nothing to really lose by doing this passiveness. If CNS keeps up, if they just can't get that possession back on that attack. They just can't retain it. That's their problem right now, I think.
The flag was thrown by the official. I don't know what that one's for. As they get it to Dial. They got 2 minutes now left in this third quarter. Swing it. Johnson going to fire, and that one's a goal for Leo Johnson. Beeville's third goal of the quarter. North Star is still scoreless in this one. They got 1:51 left to try and change that. Drew, what do you think CNS needs to do to change that in this third quarter?
I think they got to stop getting so down on themselves. But one thing that they've got to do, they have no retention of or retainment of their offense, of their attack. They get it, and then they just take a shot, and it goes straight out of bounds, or they get an easy turnover that gives the possession of Baldwinsville. You need to score goals to win the game, and they're not doing it. They can't do it right now. They've got to maintain possession on offense on their attack.
Nick Ludwig in the center for the draw. And, Drew, what did Josh Kubala have to say before this game? We spoke with him.
Well, Josh Kubala said that they're really excited for the rematch. Practice the last week has been really well, and they just need each other tonight to really beat Beeville, to get down on them, and to beat the Bees.
As Carey makes the save there, sends one way deep to Penn Feather Stevenson, almost a 50-yard pass from Carey. As Penn Feather Stevenson's going to fire another one. That one's deflected. Now there's a scramble for it on the ground.
I'm surprised you could get a shot off. Those long sticks are hard to control with those offensive shots.
There's another shot fired there. Carter's able to control it. That's another stop there from CNS. They got just over a minute left. He swings to Joe Green. Let's see what the North Stars can do to try and close out this third quarter with a goal. Green fires. That one's caught by Kubala. Kubala's guarded by pen defender Stevenson. Timeout call. I'm going to assume that's going to be timeout called by CNS. I'm pretty sure that's their last of the half. So CNS is going to go to the fourth quarter, assuming down 7 with no timeouts.
That's just, I mean, Coach Wilbur, I'm not going to question anything he does, any of his reputation. He's a really reputable coach, especially with his career in OCC. I mean, but the North Stars down 9-2. That's 7 goals they've got to get back. And 13 minutes and 4 seconds of lacrosse left. I mean, is it possible? Yes, but the North Stars, if they want to do it, they got to get on offense, and they've got to prey on a downfall on the Bees' defense.
No, it was a mistake on me. Our scoreboard operator, Chris Pilata, a little early with that one. So Chuck Wilbur will still have 1 timeout left in this game. 1:04 left. We're going to take a quick timeout ourselves in the broadcast. We'll be right back. And we are back here live after the timeout. Michael Cole, we're going to open up this one for the North Stars. They got taking things slower. They're going to try and take, I'm assuming, 1 shot before this under a minute runs out.
48 seconds left in the third quarter.
Kohler getting around Dial. Swings to Martin. Got under 40 now. Martin step off. Wertheim fell. He fires that one into the net of Nicholas Carey. There's still a scramble for it on the ground.
What a save by Carey there. I didn't think he'd get to that one.
That ball's going to fly.
And there's an immediate flag on that play. Let's see who it's on. It looks like that was on number 9 for the Bees.
Looks like, I'm assuming that, I think it's Austin McClintock, if I'm not mistaken, as that's 1 minute. As the Bees now a man down, Drew, what did Tucker Madden have to say about this Beeville team, the defensive pull for the Bees?
Well, he said he thinks just sticking to playing composed Baldwinsville lacrosse and staying with our game plan is what they need to do, mainly try and dictate what they want CNS and other teams to do rather than reacting and trying to recover off them. It looks like their defense is really dictating CNS's attack tonight. I mean, that's what they're doing, and they're up by 7 now.
Yeah, that's what the Bees do so well. They make you play how Beeville wants to play, which if you're playing the way the other team wants to, you're never going to win any game you're playing.
That's exactly what their lacrosse team is doing, and that's exactly why they're undefeated on the season.
Yeah, exactly. Beeville's 8-0. They're up 9-2, up by 7 goals, heading in this fourth and final quarter here at Michael J. Bragman Stadium against the Cicero North Syracuse North Stars. I just don't know what else much CNS can do. They're only scored 2 goals so far in this game. And one thing I found today is that on the season, they average over 11 goals a game, and CNS gives up just 7. When you go with just the league, they give up 11 and score just about 7 or 8. Which things really flip when CNS is in that non-league play. They're a much more better team than when you get in the probably the toughest league in the entire of Section 3, other than maybe the Empire League, which has the likes of Jamesville, DeWitt, and others. CNS is playing in a really tough league. I think if you throw them anywhere else, maybe even the Tri-Valley League, or maybe even the Empire, they'd really compete. But CNS struggles in the Metro because it's such a tough competition.
I really think that they could have an ability to really compete in those leagues, but they're not doing too well in the SCAC Metro. They have 2 losses. They're, I think, 1-2 so far in the SCAC Metro, which is below 500. And if they lose this game, it's going to be 1-3, and that's not what they want.
Yeah, I would say that CNS does play in the toughest league in the entirety of Central New York, maybe even all of New York, besides Long Island. And then right behind them in this area would be the Empire, which isn't too far behind, like I just mentioned, with JD and ESM as well. Both great lacrosse programs. Where this whole area, within this whole 20 minutes of Central New York, the greater Syracuse area, is probably the best lacrosse you will see in New York, besides Long Island, which is very strong in lacrosse.
This is a great area for lacrosse. I think lacrosse really had some of its origins rooted here in New York, and it's really flowed throughout. It's a newer sport compared to the other ones, but it's really popular, and it's really popular among hockey players, too. That's what I've noticed tonight. A lot of hockey players playing lacrosse as a second sport. I mean, it's a great sport to keep in shape and a great sport to promote discipline among players.
As North Stars a man up right now on the offensive end. Ian Leahy scoreless tonight for CNS. Did this right now. Blakeman inside. Back over to Leahy. Leahy's going to fire and gets one in. Top right corner.
That was
past the net there of Nicholas Carey. So Leahy, I just mentioned, he's scoreless and he fires one in just 23 seconds in to this 4th and final quarter. CNS now trails just 6. Could this be the start of a comeback for CNS?
That was, I'm going to call it a heater. That was an amazing throw, an amazing shot by Leahy. That just blazed right by Beeville's goalie, Mason Clark. 27 saves, 18 goals against this year. Make that number 21.
And that's huge for CNS. Now can they get a face-off win? Crowd's getting pumped up here as Jake Chiz has been unstoppable tonight. I think CNS has only won 1.
And he's fast as he's bringing it up the sideline here to create some offense for Beeville right after that goal. They are bouncing back. It looks like this one might not go unanswered as Beeville's really fighting hard for this. They are not letting up.
As Wertheim's going to kick to Ordway. Ordway now to Dial. Back to Wertheim. Now back to Dial. They're just going to really taking things slow here, which I don't hate them for doing that.
You know, something we saw with West Genesee after they held that lead over the North Stars. 6 minutes straight of just passive offense. They did nothing. They kept their lead. They did not score another goal. Maybe they scored 1, and they weren't called for stalling until the very end of the game. They did a great job with that at the end of the game, just, you know, pacing themselves, not really having the mindset to score goals, but just maintain an attack and maintain an offense. So CNS did not have a chance to go back and score on them.
Caleb Martin now the deep hole in his hand in this 4th quarter. We saw him with a short stick earlier in the game as Keegan Lynch just fires one bounce shot into the goal past Peter Carter. As Lynch now has his 2nd goal of the game for Beeville, and that leads right back to 7 after the Leahy goal for CNS.
Makes it a 10-3 ball game. 1 timeout left for the North Stars. 2 timeouts left for Baldwinsville in the 4th quarter. 10:25 left in the game. Tanner
Long in there. I think why Jake Chiz is going Division 2, to Florida Southern before being a Fogo, is he has a great ability with the stick to get that ball, and then he also, once he gets that ball, he can take you, sprint his way past the outside and right onto the attack. Caleb Martin now back with a short stick in his hand. They're really changing things up with him, trying everything they possibly can to get this game to go the other way. In Beeville, I think we'll almost do the opposite of Jenny, because I remember last year the Beeville game we had here at Michael J. Bragman, they didn't let up. Once that game was heading toward the ends, they send in that second somewhat unit, but they still let them play as hard as they wanted.
Yeah.
They didn't have them just pass around because Beeville likes to run things up. That one bounces off the pole as Johnson gets it, swings to Ordway. That's Holland back now to Wertheim. Under 10 now in this game.
Looks like things are slowing down a bit here. Looks like Beeville's going to really start taking that little passive approach.
Johnson's going to fake. Kicks to Ordway. Ordway pressured by Martin. Ordway's going to fire. That one's way long, but it looks like Wertheim is there.
So it looks like that'll stay in Beeville's
Lynch.
possession.
That's going to stay with Baldwinsville. There's just not much they can do.
I mean, CNS has pretty much done as much as they can in this game. This was not the greatest performance by them, but they just have to start coming out with some speed and spark to start their games. Otherwise, they're never going to have a chance to compete.
Ordway's shot way deep, but once again, Baldwinsville was right there, so it's going to stick with them. I think the biggest problem with both North Stars Lacrosse this year, I've already said it once, I'll say it again on a previous broadcast, that last year they relied too much on the seniors that are now gone. The girls lacrosse team being Molly Malchoff, who was a huge part of them in winning that sectional title last year, and with this boys team being Nolan Firth and Anthony Semino alongside goalie Giovanni Heater. They all were great pieces of this CNS team. Now these kids have to learn to play without them.
Yeah.
Which is very difficult, like we've already mentioned multiple times, in the hardest league in the area.
And it's really hard. I mean, it's happening every year. It's not like you're going to go a year without seniors. I don't think there's ever been a year without seniors in any sport across the board in high school sports. You're going to constantly be relying on those seniors, those people that have been there for 3, 4, 5 years that are suddenly gone, and they were your point leaders, and now someone else has to step up. And sometimes those people that need to step up don't step up, and that's really detrimental to these teams.
Yeah, the North Stars tonight have had 2 scoreless quarters, with only scoring 2 and 1 in the ones they have scored in. Where in both quarters the North Stars score.
Looks like there's a flag.
Every time the North Stars score a goal so far tonight in a quarter, they've outscored Beeville in said quarter.
Mm-hmm.
First quarter, 5-0. Second quarter, 2-1 CNS. Third quarter, 3-0 Baldwinsville. This quarter, 1-1. Player hit to the ground hard. Didn't quite hear what the flag was for.
It looked like it was Keegan Lynch that got hit to the ground, but yeah, I didn't hear it either. I didn't hear.
I don't see a man standing on the sideline for either side.
It was for roughing.
But North Stars do seem to be a man down. They're just not putting the man there that they are down.
Beeville working from that bottom corner. Really changing up their attack every quarter. I mean, they're really making CNS play how they want to play, like Macnick told us.
Yeah, exactly. As Lynch is going to look, kick to Dial. Now to Ordway. Ordway's going to fire a shot right over the left shoulder of Peter Carter. Now they extend their lead to 8 in tonight's contest.
You know, with these big leads like this, you could probably see, and I say it every time, a lot of freshmen come in, a lot of sophomores that don't get much playing time.
Yeah, we saw it Tuesday night in the West Jenny game, if I'm not mistaken. We saw some of the younger kids go in.
We could see Garrett Branning come in, the junior goalie. 2 saves, 0 goals against, 1,000 save percentage, just absolutely incredible. 2 shots, 2 saves. Or Leighton Sullivan, he's a starting goaltender for this team, has a future with the high school team for his senior year. I mean, we might see Peter Carter come out, or we might see Wilbur keep him in so he doesn't lose his confidence for these future games, because it's crucial for CNS after this to just start winning these league games. They need these league games.
It's very rare when you're losing, no matter the score, to pull the goalie, because no matter what the score is, who you're playing against, it's gonna ruin their confidence. That's just how it is. So it's highly unlikely they pull Peter Carter in these last 7 minutes. You might see some other players get pulled off.
I think the only case that they would pull Peter Carter is if they're up by 7, not down by,
Exactly. The only
8.
time we've seen Sullivan or Branning step on the field this year for the North Stars is when they were up in large games like against Roundup Valley.
Or Marcellus.
Marcellus is another one, and also New Hartford. I'm assuming one of them got in. That game was on the road. That ball sailed way deep out of bounds. It looks like it's going to stick with Baldwinsville, and it will.
.6:32 left in the game. 2 timeouts left for Baldwinsville, 1 for CNS as the clock is ticking down in this contest. CNS down by 8.
Yeah, we might just see the Baldwinsville Bees almost hold this ball in their possession for the next 6 minutes. I would not put them against it.
I would not either. I mean, West Genesee stalled the ball really easily. I mean, they stalled it for 6 minutes. We might see Baldwinsville stall it for 6 minutes here.
But it looks like CNS got the ball back now. Josh Kubala has it. It's going to sail one way back to Malecki. Malecki's going to get it to Caleb Martin with the short stick in his hand. And Martin's going to look to pass now. It's going to sail a pass way deep to Jordan Miller. See what Jordan Miller can do here. Fires inside to Cicerelli, and Cicerelli nets it a goal. for CNS, making Carey almost do a split there in goal. So now North Stars back down 7. Cicerelli gets his second goal in of the night.
Miller with his first point of the season. That assist to Mason Cicerelli makes it an 11-4 game, 7-goal deficit, 5:46 left in the game.
It's not unlikely, but you got to win faceoffs. Plain and simple, Tanner Long's got to beat Jake Chiz one of these times.
I think they should start putting in Kubala more. Kubala was the only one I think.
Kubala or Ludwig, some of them more physical. Tanner Long might have the stick skills to do it, but Chiz has that nice combo of impressive stick skills alongside the physicality. I think you got to throw Kubala or someone else in there.
And Kubala has the height too, and he has the speed. Not that Long doesn't have the speed, but Long does not have the height to get on Chiz.
As Chiz just flips it up to himself, he's going to try and stick with it, fight for it. As Chiz once again is going to come away with it and do a quick pass back to Dial. They have Rocco Albany on the field now.
Looks like Beeville is just trying to dance around with it in their attack.
Yeah, Beeville knows they're better than CNS, but they didn't come into this game cocky. They came in like the sectional championship, and they played that way as well. They're up 11-4 on the road. They look like they're going to improve that road record to 5-0 tonight and stay 9-0 in the league. Or on the season, excuse me.
The last time CNS played Baldwinsville is a 13-6 loss tonight. It's 11-4. They're keeping it a lower score so far, but it's the same deficit as the last game.
Yes, Ordway went for a behind-the-back shot there. It's going to bounce its way out of bounds. Hollenbeck's there for it, so now they're going to kick to Dial. Dial sticking on the left wing here. Going to go left. Guarded by Albanese. They swing to Hollenbeck. Swings back to Ordway. He's going to fire, and nets in another goal for the Bees tonight. That's Trey Ordway's second goal of the quarter, second of the night.
Makes it a 12-4 ball game.
There is a great set of triplets in Baldwinsville with the Hollenbeck triplets. You've got Ryan on this team, then the twin sis, and then the triplet sisters, Grace and Emma, over on the girls' side. Those two girls committed to St. Bonaventure next year. As that family just produced Lacrosse, obviously. Pretty impressive to say.
You know what I'm seeing in Beeville, though, they have such a large lead, and they're not putting in. I mean, I haven't really seen many other players out there besides, Lynch and Chiz and those normal players that are out there. But maybe we'll see their head coach start to put in some more, freshman players in the game.
I do see Dial and Lynch taking a seat on that bench near the track, and they just called a timeout. So you might see, like we just mentioned, those secondary players roll in. We both know someone on that Beeville defense bench. Number 31, Carter Little. You've played hockey with him a few times. I know him through family friends over in Baldwinsville. Like to see maybe him get on the field tonight for Baldwinsville as they have a 12-4 lead on CNS. And on the other side, I don't know, want to see some new attack. Might see Braylon Tuff, you played hockey with him, Jack Oswald, Nick Bassesi come in. Almost rotate that entire attack for CNS because I know one thing, Wilbur's always about now I don't know that for certain, but I always like to see him developing players, and you're not going to get that if you don't throw them in against these tough varsity competition. Doesn't matter how long they play for, as long as they get that experience, those younger guys, get them in and face some varsity shots.
Yeah, and I mean, it really takes like 4 or 5 years to really flush those players out that were here when Wilbur wasn't and really get new players in that he can start to develop. And I think he's going to start there with the Malecki brothers. Freshman defense here for 3 more years after this. I think he's really going to take his time and really start to develop those boys along with other freshmen that are going to join the team next year.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there was any changes really to CNS.
We can see Cicerelli and Blakeman out there, along with John Carter.
Angela Albanese is out there for CNS. That's a new face for us tonight. But nothing else seems to have really changed. You have both Albaneses out there, it looks like. Rockwell Albanese, number 26, on the opposite side of the field.
Looks like he dropped the ball.
Lose control. Helmet came off for Mason Cicerelli. Whistle's going to be blown. It's going to go to the Bees.
And it looks
the
like
entire CNS team can't believe it. Cicerelli had his helmet hit off, and they're going to give it to the opposition. That makes no sense in my head.
That does not make sense. I get the stoppage for the helmet, but why would that be Beeville's possession on the ball?
I don't know. There's many rules in the sport of boys lacrosse and even more in girls lacrosse, so who knows? As her Cicerelli and the entire CNS personnel is furious about that one. As that ball sails way over Johnson's head, and there is Jordan Miller. It's going to go to CNS. And Elijah Martin's going to step on the field here in place of Miller.
So Miller is substituted out.
Martin's going to sprint down the sideline, swing it to Michael Kohler, who swings to Leahy on his strong left side. Leahy's going to fire one way past the goal. It's going to stick with CNS. About 3:30 left to go. They trail 12-4.
I think really it's a lot with defense. It's a lot with maintaining offense. There's a lot of things that went wrong in today's game, but I think it all started with that slow start we saw. 5 straight goals in the first half of the first quarter. I thought it was going to be a blowout when I first saw those 5 goals go up on the board. But you know what? They maintained it, but they really could have had a great chance at winning had they just come out really, really strong on defense and on their attack.
Blakeman now on the left wing, sprinting towards the goal. He's going to spin back, kick to Carter on the outside. John Carter gets to Tanner Long. Now to Martin. Ball fumbled. Martin trying to stick with that one. There's a lot of sticks flying.
Long
They
is
shove
knocked
Tanner
down.
Long to the ground. No flag or whistle blown. There's still a fight for it. Blakeman fires. That ball is deflected. Way down the side. Blakeman's trying to try and stick with it. Leahy's going to go for that one.
As Leo Johnson
There's an absolute
substituted in.
scramble there. There's still a fight for it. CNS comes away with that one. Now here comes Elijah Martin, picked up by Macknick.
As it looks like
North Star is going to call their final timeout of the game with 2:28 left to go, trailing, like I just mentioned, 12-4. There's not much you can do here in this game. Just try and do better and move on to the next one. As CNS will have they're on the road at the Fayetteville Manlius Hornets on Tuesday. On the other side for the Bees, they play tomorrow at Victor in Rochester at 3:30. So they got to get a good night's rest tonight and get on a bus to Rochester. Take on some very tough Section 5 competition, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, this was not the greatest night.
Section 2, no. 5.
Not the greatest night for the North Stars by far. They're on a little bit of a losing streak, losing to West Genesee and Baldwinsville already once. Now it looks like they might lose to Baldwinsville a second time, making it their 3rd loss on the season, making them a 6-3 team, which is still pretty good for the North Stars. They already beat their 5-10 record by last year with 6 wins now, but they just got to keep winning. It looks like the wins that they're winning are not important to what they can do in the postseason. They're winning against teams like Marcellus and New Hartford, but when they get to these important games, these important conference league games, they're not doing as much. They're not providing as much. And, I mean, they're losing to Baldwinsville twice and West Genesee once. That's their 3rd loss, 1-3 so far.
Yeah, they're going to have possession here, try and get a goal back, bring it back within 7, the same deficit they faced at Baldwinsville a week or 2 ago. Well, let's see. They're going to start it with Leahy. Picked up by Penafeather Stevenson. Carter's going to fire, and that's saved by Carey. Both these goalies between Nicholas Carey and Mason Clark have been doing an amazing job tonight for the Bees.
Just an amazing job at stopping the ball. I mean, Beeville defenders are there. They're helping out. But when it comes to the shots that they're laying on them, they're stopping almost all of them. They only let in 4 tonight, which is incredible for a lacrosse goalie.
And Baldwinsville is going to call their final time out of the game in just under 2 minutes. We're going to take a quick one ourselves before we close out this North Stars Bees matchup. And we are back live after the timeout break. Bees are going to start with it. Looks like we might have some new faces on the field for Beeville.
Is that one? That was a perfect deflection. Right to number 4 on Baldwinsville, Will Weekly. That was a perfect bounce right into his stick. It looked like it was going to get past him, but it just bounced right into his stick. That was incredible.
As North Stars get a stop there late in this one, they got a minute 33. Let's see if they can score, get it back to 7.
Getting it back to 7 would be ideal for the North Stars.
Yeah, and the Bees do have all new poles out there right now. As Cicerelli, no one to guard him, lose control of that ball. He's going to spin. Kick it to Carter. They go for an alley-oop there, saved by Carey. He's been doing an amazing job tonight.
Carey putting every part of his body in front of the ball. I mean, he is stopping everything that's coming at him. He's not letting up, even though Beeville's leading by 8 with 1 minute left in the game.
And I really see why Carey is that closing goalie for Matt Wilcox and his B squad. He's been doing a great job tonight, getting in the way and putting his body on the line for almost every shot he's taken at. And he's only let in 2 goals tonight. Well, both goals only let in 2 goals tonight, excuse me.
It looks like Carey has let in 18 goals this whole season in Baldwinsville's entire 8 games. It's only a couple goals a game.
Samurai loses that one to John Carter, and John Carter loses it. Scooped up by Leahy. Leahy's going to go at Ordway. Lose control of the ball. As they're going to fire inside to Carter, and that one saved again by Carey. That one looked a little wide anyways. Carey just looked like to control that one.
And it looks like that might end the game here.
Yeah, they've got 20-ish seconds left.
With Baldwinsville on the attack. Oh, but there's a flag out there.
Now Joe Green, he's looking for a goal of his own. Off, the attacks can't do it. He's going to try it himself. Sails out of bounds. 8 seconds left. He's going to stay with CNS.
Just a bit outside.
Let's see what the flag is thrown. Baseball was Wednesday night, Drew.
Nah, I'm still on it. So I was watching Major League. That's what I did after the baseball game. Watched Major League. Watched that just a bit outside quote from, it's an amazing movie. You really should watch that.
It looked like our scoreboard just went out. The computer that runs it shut down. This clock's going to run. North Star's going to try and get a last-second goal. Leahy's going to fire one. And that's saved by Carey once again. And that's going to zero out this clock. The Bees come into Michael J. Bragman Stadium and win 12-5.
And it looks, that was not the greatest performance by the North Stars tonight. They came out slow. They got their defense on, but they didn't have their attack on. And when they had their attack on, they didn't have their defense on. And then when they had both working great, they just could not retain control of that attack. They could not maintain control of the ball, possession of the ball, and could not stay in the offensive zone because of turnovers, flags, penalties. It was all over the place. 12-4 is your final score. Last score was 13-6, so that's 1 extra goal of differential.
Yeah, you had Dial with a hat trick tonight for the Bees. You had Lynch adding in 2 and Ordway adding in 2 as well in that final quarter, as CNS was pretty much just outworked the entire game. And Baldwinsville is a very skilled squad who can very well and most likely will be winning the section. I don't want to throw hate towards CNS, but it most likely is true.
As they extend it to 9-0 on the season, undefeated Baldwinsville.
Yeah, 5-0 in the Metro. Baldwinsville really is that team this year, so I don't really know what else. Who can stop them, as their closest game this year has been West Jenny, who got them within 4. So other than that, they've had wins. Beat CNS by 7. At one point, they beat FM by 8. Liverpool by 5. Ballston Spa by 11. Canandaigua by 6. ESM, who is probably the best team in the Empire, like we talked about earlier, by 6. And Webster Thomas by 9. As this Beeville squad is just really strong and solid through and through, from the goalie all the way to the other side with the attack.
Yeah, from goalie to defense, midfield and attack, just like you said. I mean, they've got great goaltending, they've got great defense, and they can score. They can really, really make teams, like you said earlier, and like what Macknick said in his interview, they can really make teams play how they want to play. That's their deadliest weapon, is taking these teams, making them play how they want to make them play, and that's how you win. You cannot win a game if you play like the other team wants you to, because then they have you, and it's game over from the beginning.
Yeah, exactly, Drew. And I think I'm going to close this out here. To my right-hand side is Andrew Matiasik. My name's Owen O'Keefe. We'll see you tomorrow morning. South Jefferson's here playing our girls lacrosse team at noon. Make sure to tune in. We'll be back. Thank you, our athletic director, Tim Bednarski, equipment manager, Joe Howell, PA Daryl White, and our scoreboard manager, Chris Pilata from the North Star Network. Have a great night, everyone.